Hey everybody, this is Clint from the RV Small Talk podcast, and the calendar's changing, the leaves are changing, so it's time to start thinking about winterizing your RV. You may be putting it up for storage, or you may be protecting your water system and still camping in it. All good, all safe. We actually recommend that around here, but we thought we would revisit an old episode of the RV Small Talk podcast in which we brought Cody from our service department in to talk about all things winterization. So join me in diving into this episode of Winterizing Your RV is Easy. Hey, yeah, it's banter time. Go for it, y'all.
Banter, 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 banter.
All right, so Cody, you're not often on the podcast, so we had you on probably within the first 30 episodes and not many times since then. And you are who at Princess Craft besides your name? What do
I'm
you do?
the giraffe's best friend.
Lindsay?
It's true. We're besties.
High five.
I love it, but it's not true. And
But you're all
It may not be true, but that's okay.
and what do you do here, Cody?
I am the parts and service manager.
Okay. Can you keep it all together?
No,
That explains a lot.
But he's working on it.
but I'm working on it.
Well, it's a tough job. I mean, it's a busy place.
Yeah.
So speaking of Princess Craft, we have construction going on right now. Did we mention this in the last podcast? Because it's still happening.
So walls are coming down.
And other walls are going up.
It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It smells like Home Depot in here.
I love
and
the
there's-
smell of cut pine wood.
Yeah, it smells really good, but there's like constant, like loud noises. And remember yesterday there was that scraping inside the wall that made the back of my face hurt. And there's like wires, and it's just, it's madness around here trying to like operate as a dealership.
Right. And
having
dust.
This.
We're used to having a lot of dust here, but we have a whole new level of dust right now.
That is so true. We've even quit cleaning the floor because why?
Because why?
It is such a wreck. And, I found it really interesting that now when customers come in, we're usually a fun place to be and everybody's chatty and people looking around. And now people walk in and they're just all business because there's nothing to look at.
Nobody wants to be in here.
Nobody wants to be here. It is not fun. We still have our music going, but it just
There's wires hanging
feels
from the
like
ceiling.
You're in a construction site, and I guess you are, but
We're going to get there, and it's going to be amazing when it's done.
Yeah.
I love the positivity, Cody.
That's right.
No wonder you're my bestie.
I am actually excited about it.
No, I'm really excited about it too. I'm getting a bigger office, so I'm excited about it.
Yeah, but it's still a shared office.
Hush.
Oh, okay.
I will have my own
it'll
corner.
be so fun.
You know,
If
with
there
all-
has to be 4 of us in one room, it needs to be a bigger room.
Yes,
okay?
indeed.
That's what we're doing. That's part of what we're doing. And then other people get their own office. Not me, but other people who are more important. And it's going to be cool.
I'm more excited
Eventually.
about like how it'll help Princess Craft.
Well, I think that the customers coming in will be able to see the right people quicker.
That's
I
what
think
I'm hoping
That's
for.
our
Yeah.
plan.
It'll be better
That
flow.
was the original intent, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just kind of grew because if anybody knows PJ, it's like change your mind every 5 seconds.
Well, it keeps it interesting, right?
That's one word for it.
Yeah, it's evaluate and tweak, evaluate and tweak, evaluate and tweak, evaluate and tweak.
I like test and tune. It's more fun.
Test and
I
tune.
like boots and pants and 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 pants and pants and boots and pants.
I don't even know what's going on right now. This is why I work in parts and service and not in whatever it is y'all doing here.
Yeah.
Y'all don't beatbox over there?
No, we
I
play
don't think
different.
that's
we play,
beatboxing.
we play different games.
Yeah.
Like what? I want to play service games.
No, you
No,
don't.
you don't.
No, you don't. There's a bunch of service guys back there.
You don't want to play service games.
Okay.
HR has a whole nother category for dealing with service department games.
This is.
Do we have an
probably
HR
very true.
department?
Yeah, you're
Hey,
looking
PJ.
at her.
That's why I need a bigger office.
Because of all of the technician games.
Well, you've hired so many people in just my time here. I asked Lindsay earlier when she was young, growing up with the original Princess Craft location, there were maybe 5 employees. Well, now we're bumping 30 employees.
Yeah, and all 5 of them fit in a room this size, which is about what?
10 by
10
20?
by No, I don't think
It's
we're
like
20.
3 crow pogs, but
I don't know. I'm
one
thinking
crow
that
pog.
the prior office was even smaller than this because part of it was in a hallway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so that's where, I mean, I don't know. I was surprised. Somebody asked me how many employees we had the other day, and I said, I think we're like 20, we're up to 22,
Yeah.
23.
You used both hands. You took off your shoes and used both feet, and then you borrowed someone else's feet.
And then I was totally lost because we just hired our 29th employee.
That's crazy.
Really? I
Isn't
thought
that
we were
crazy?
still at 25.
I thought so too.
26.
But I counted, and they
you know,
were right,
most of
29.
them are in my department.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It's crazy.
Not all.
Yeah.
crazy.
Did you learn all their names, Cody?
I know everybody's name.
Okay. Good.
I said good morning to the new guy this morning, and I said, good morning, Jose. Good morning, Cameron. Good morning.
Uh-oh.
And then I just stared at
You had a
him,
moment.
and he was like Wolverine. And I was like, never seen it. And then we had a whole discussion. I know.
You missed
I know.
You missed it.
I know. So I was like, I guess I'll learn your name a different way. Anyway.
What's another way she could remember Logan?
The steakhouse. Like the steakhouse.
Logan Steakhouse.
Ooh, they bring you butter rolls.
Good butter rolls.
But we have Texas Roadhouse
so
here,
I
which is
don't
the
su-
same thing.
Yeah, but I
that
know
doesn't, that doesn't help you.
I'm more of a
mnemonic
Texas
remember his
Roadhouse
name.
Logan.
I like Longhorn Steakhouse.
Also good.
Doesn't help with Logan.
Yeah. Logan
Yeah, but it's
Steakhouse
better.
helps with the mnemonic memory device. However, Texas Steakhouse doesn't.
I guess that's true.
Logan.
But here's the deal. Logan was cracking jokes the first day. So I think we've got a winner. Now, he was not cracking jokes yesterday, which was his third day.
Uh-oh.
I think he was a little tired, a little worn out.
He was on a truck prep.
Oh, we gave him a hard job.
Cody, what's the truck prep for our listeners?
Truck prep typically is going to be something that we refer to on a truck camper customer.
Okay.
Where we're outfitting it with truck camper tie downs, wiring, airbags, super hitches.
So you're under
It sounds
anything
really
and everything
fun.
Yeah.
to prep it for hauling a truck camper.
Sounds like
And
a
that's
birthday party.
All work on the truck.
Yes.
Underneath on
no
the frame.
work
Underneath.
on the camper itself,
That
which
is-
has its own.
So it's an 8 to
Absolutely
10 hour
correct.
job for a
Very
full
much
truck
so.
prep.
Very much so.
And
10
it's
hours.
and it's one that a lot of people don't like to do because
I love
it's hard work.
I love doing them.
Because you're like in the zone. You just have to work on like one thing.
Cody, you're not the norm.
But I'm a mechanic by trade, so
That's why he's my bestie.
because I'm not normal.
Yeah.
Well, that might make sense.
You shouldn't have said that. I'm going to call you my bestie all the time
No,
now.
that's fine. As long as
It's
we're
like
not
a whole
hating
new
each other,
meaning.
it's better than that.
Is it? I'm going to make you wish you never said that.
You're going to pay for that.
Mwahaha.
I'm a lot nicer in my old age.
Yep. And Princess Craft is moving along. So
Yeah.
that's the gist of it. We are all growing and changing. So it has been, I think it's been a really fun week. Just seeing walls come down and boards going up. And I'm excited.
So, Lindsay, you have sad news.
Oh, what is it?
I don't know. What is it? What's happened?
What's so sad?
Lindsay, who did you have to say goodbye to this week?
Oh, I said goodbye to my soul, Dawn. But honestly, the family, the couple that I gave it to, I didn't give it to anybody. Let's be clear.
Giving is a relative term.
The couple that now owns my trailer, like, they were so happy and they were going to take it on lots of adventures, and it was just really sweet. So I'm okay.
Do you
I
remember
did
their
give it a
names?
hug. No,
Oh.
How do you hug a trailer?
like this.
Like which part of it though? Because
It's butt. You like how quickly I answered that?
The butt of the trailer.
it's the butt of the trailer. Is that like the butt of a joke?
It's like Dawn Booty.
It's his hiney. It's tuchus. It's derriere.
Rover
It's
Booty.
posterior.
Just give it a squeeze.
Oh boy.
Well, y'all
Wait,
check
wait.
out the pictures on Lindsay's Facebook.
Maybe
There's
she
got
should
to
play
be some
technician
there.
games.
Yeah, see,
That'd
I'd be
become
fine.
a whole nother HR issue.
Your trailer left today, didn't it, Clint?
I don't know.
Clint, we didn't get a picture of you hugging your trailer's booty or front side. I'm not judging. You can hug any part you want.
I was going to hug a tip out.
But I didn't get a picture.
Sorry.
You don't even care.
I'll be fine.
Are you sentimental about it at all?
Just a trailer.
Another one's coming.
I know, but like,
I'll have another trailer someday.
Memories in that trailer.
I mean, I have pictures.
For sure, but you make new memories in the new trailer.
I know. I'm not like crying about it. I'm not losing sleep over it. But you know, you have a moment of like, oh, bye.
Well, to be fair, Clint's getting the same trailer.
Just newer.
That's true.
Just a new one.
It's going to look
You're getting a
probably.
different trailer.
I am.
Yeah. So there.
Yeah, my trailer's just going to have a different tongue box. That's pretty much it.
So whose trailer do I get to borrow?
Not mine.
You can borrow mine whenever you want.
You have a trailer. It's just kind of stationary.
Yeah, and I don't have a truck to pull it. And have you seen the price of a truck lately?
You know, it's kind of the whole cart before the horse sort of scenario, quite literally here.
Huh?
It's the cart before the horse scenario.
You can borrow my trailer.
Perfect.
You can borrow my truck, but don't you dare pull your trailer with my truck.
I have a truck. It just I need.
How big is your fifth wheel, Cody?
Overall, it's 42 foot and some change, like 4210, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
It's big.
Dang.
And you live in it.
We live in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. It's a pretty cool fifth wheel. It's front living.
You and your sweet wife and your
And
son,
my almost
Ollie.
2-year-old son. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, but I was at your house and your yard is really cool.
A yard?
Yeah.
Around my trailer?
Yeah.
Well, so we live in the only RV park in the area that has like
It's
a semi
like a fenced-in yard, and there's
fenced-in
lights.
yard. So it's a
and
semi
Kind of a private.
semi-private area. So every slot, for the most part, has fencing in between. So we were 3-sided fenced when we moved in, and then they allow you to put up a semi-privacy fence along the front to keep things in your yard. So yeah, so we fenced it off, and Ollie can run around in there and play, and we don't have to worry about him getting out into the drive or anything like that. And you know, we've got a couple dogs that it keeps in, so
super cute.
it works. I think it's a really nice park. I mean, it's got some amenities that other places that I have never seen, such as the fencing and on-site storage, stuff like that. So it's
You're
pretty
also
cool.
heading home for parties all the time, or concerts, or
So they do
live
a
music,
lot of,
or barbecues.
Yeah, we've actually got another one coming up. They did a one for Halloween. They've got another one coming up here on the November 13th, I think. They have live music out, and they'll have food trucks and sometimes things for the kids to do, bounce houses, things like that.
So they have like an HOA at this place?
They don't have an HOA, but they have on-site management. I mean, that's there all the time.
Because I know a lot of places have HOAs. If it's a neighborhood, they don't allow trailers. I mean, what's an HOA in a place like yours going to do?
Right.
It's all
we'll
trailers.
Control the trucks on blocks and all that.
Yeah,
kind
hey,
of
don't
thing.
you bring your actual house in here.
Yes.
Park it on your lot.
But do you feel like you're camping at all when you're in it? I mean, that's a big fifth wheel.
It is a big fifth wheel. I wouldn't necessarily say I feel like I'm camping, but it is definitely crowded feeling, even at 42 feet. From going from a house to a trailer, it's crowded feeling.
Yep.
And trying to figure out, we're still figuring all that out after about 4 months now.
Right.
Trying to figure out where to put things,
what you need, maybe what you don't need.
Maybe we should get rid of some more stuff.
Yeah. And your old place had a really cool shop, which you did a lot of work in. Do you miss that like a lot?
I thought that I might, but I don't.
You don't miss your shop?
I don't. What I do miss is the ability to do my own services on my vehicles.
Okay.
Because now I have to pay people to do it.
I miss you being able to do services on my vehicles.
Well, nobody said I couldn't do some things.
Yeah.
I mean, I still have all my tools. I just don't have a lift, and it's hard to do certain things without a lift.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, don't be missing mechanicking too much at this point. I'm just saying.
Why? You might appreciate me if I went back to mechanicking.
I don't know.
Oh,
I appreciate you now.
That's just,
it's all
she
good.
appreciates you.
Oh,
that's not what I'm
fishing for compliments.
She might like me out in the
Cody.
shop too. I mean, you never know. It's been a long time since I've worked in the shop. But
just find your replacement before you do that. Would you mind? And the mic goes silent.
I've been doing this almost 10 years. I don't, you'd have to just find somebody who's been doing it long enough.
Yep. Are we going to talk about winterizing? Because
this is kind of fun. I'd rather
outside.
not.
It's definitely not cold in this room, but we could talk about winterizing.
Just not as fun as talking.
All right.
But it could be.
But it's that time of year, and it is a huge thing on the Facebook groups and forums and all that. And to us, obviously, it's not that big a deal here where we live. But
I think it should be.
You think so?
Well, yeah. I mean, let's just look at last year.
Yeah. Last year was the only year I can remember like that.
Right. And you know, and people ask me all the time, man, I mean, we live in Texas. I mean, winterize, really? Come on.
Yeah.
It's Texas.
Yeah.
And my answer to them every time is, I would recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, why? It's Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, it does freeze occasionally.
Yes.
And most of our customers here probably don't get to store at their home.
Yeah.
Right. So they're in a storage facility that they've got to drive to and try to winterize it there. Mm-hmm. And most people do that when?
Right before it freezes.
Right before it freezes, or they didn't realize it was going to freeze.
Run out there.
Right. Yeah. Or they didn't realize it was going to freeze, and then they didn't do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, in all reality, I recommend doing it.
Okay. But do you recommend doing it at a specific time? Because it can still be mostly in the 50s and 60s in Texas for all but maybe 4 or 5 days a year in Texas. Like, do you wait till you see it on the forecast?
I think that's up to the individual. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really do.
Okay.
So some people like to winter camp.
Yeah.
Right. So they're like, well, why would I winterize it if I'm going to use it?
Uh-huh.
So there's other ways to get around that too.
Well, we talked about earlier in our Facebook Live that we did that you can winterize a trailer and still camp in it.
Well, you can. You just can't use the water system at all.
Exactly, which is fine. It's because that's actually closer to real camping.
Okay.
You can actually use the term
but
more frivolously. But you can still use
the furnace and stuff, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool. Then I don't need a sink or a shower.
Yeah.
I hardly use those anyway.
I do. I mean, I'm not a winter camper. I like hot water and showers. We've all learned that from the events that I go to. I know. Bougie for real.
Yes. Man.
So, but I mean, if you're camping in it and you're using the furnace, you're keeping most of what you're connected to warm anyway. Except maybe your water hose, which is outside. But guess what they make for those?
Oh, and you just bought one of these.
I did. I'm actually excited to use it this winter. It's a heated water hose. And
does that mean that it's easier on a water heater at that point because you're just bringing in more water? I'm just messing with me.
It's not that hot.
Heated water hoses, though, are cool.
Absolutely.
Because, it doesn't matter if you're winterized or camping or whatever you're doing. It can easily drop down below freezing just overnight. That's very common in Texas.
Yep.
And if that happens, then the first thing that freezes is your water hose. And even if it thaws out, by mid-morning and you have water back and everything's back to normal, it's going to split. It's going to eventually damage your hose. And then you don't have a water hose. Then it runs everywhere. Maybe when you're not looking, then you're in a frozen puddle that night. And it
sounds just like epically miserable.
Just
awful. Yeah. So just a heated hose solves every bit of that.
Yep. I agree. They're fantastic. I built one when we were building our house. I actually made my own heated hose prior to buying one.
How do you make a heated hose?
So
You duct tape an electric blanket around a water hose.
An electric blanket in kind of a fashion of an electric blanket, right? They make this stuff called heat tape, which is actually designed for running along copper tubing in your home that plugs into a 110 outlet that has a thermostat on it, automatic thermostat that touches the pipe, and you attach it to the pipe and it detects temperature and turns on and off to keep the pipe from freezing.
I bet that's a common thing to find up further north than us. I bet that it's used a lot.
Like a heated hose or just
the heated tape that you're talking about?
Yeah. I think you're probably very much correct, but they do sell it at most hardware stores here in Texas as well that I've seen. Okay. So I just made my own, bought a water hose, had my water hose, and then I just taped this to it, set it all up, and then I even put insulation around it. Which works great if you don't have dogs. But I had dogs, they chewed all the insulation off. So then I had to put it in PVC to protect the insulation.
Oh, my gosh.
So it probably would have been better to just buy a heated hose.
But at that point, yeah.
But wouldn't they have chewed up the heated hose? And then you have to buy another heated hose.
They never messed with my regular water hose. There was something about the insulation. Yeah.
They wanted,
it's
like it's nice and squishy.
Nice and squishy, so it gave them something to chew on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bored dogs and a heated hose.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if they chew up a heated hose, we might have some disagreements. I mean, they're not cheap.
Yeah.
Do your dogs argue well?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk back.
Are these your Pyrenees?
My Great Pyrenees.
You still have Pyrenees?
I do.
I love Pyrenees.
Yeah.
But they are hard-headed.
They are incredibly stubborn.
And hairy.
Yes.
Oh, my gosh.
So these Pyrenees come in your 40-foot trailer?
No.
Oh, no, they don't come inside?
No.
They stay outside.
Uh-huh.
And they patrol the perimeter like Pyrenees do and bark all night?
Nope. So we
I know we're supposed to be talking about winterizing, but I want to know about barking Pyrenees.
We had to get some bark control devices for them. And we have tried to do it as humane as possible because we don't really want to do the shock collar thing. So they make ones that spray citronella. They strap around their neck just like a collar, have a microphone on them. Mm-hmm. And if they bark, it sprays citronella kind of towards their snout. Snout. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And apparently dogs don't like that.
I don't think I'd like it either.
So, do what?
Did it work?
It has been incredibly successful.
Do they have fewer flies and mosquitoes around them too?
Yeah, right.
No, but it has been incredibly successul. I had my doubts, but and they're also quite noisy when they spray off. And so they can hear it, they smell it, it touches them, so it hits all of their senses, and it has worked. And you can, when they run out of spray or the battery goes dead, they'll test it a couple of days and then they're back to barking, and then.
Can we install these on our service techs?
Our techs don't typically bark.
But when they do.
They don't bite very hard.
Oh, but it'd go off every time they're using one of their air-powered tools, though.
That probably wouldn't work so good.
It would work wonderfully. What are you talking about?
It might be fun to find out.
I'm over here just picturing it.
Well, my hat's off to you to get 2 Pyrenees from your acreage in your big house on all that land to a little yard in an RV park.
Yep.
That's impressive.
It's got its challenges.
Yep.
And we have continuing discussions about things.
You and the dogs have long talks.
Sure, me and the dogs, me and the wife, me and the park management.
Well, we'll check back next year to see if the dogs are still living in your yard.
Perfect.
See how that goes.
Perfect.
Good luck.
Yes. So back to winterizing.
Oh, yes. The exciting topic of winterizing.
Cody, what is the goal, the overarching generalized goal of winterizing?
No water in your system.
Dehydration.
Dehydration, yep.
Okay. Tell us more. Now, you can't go in and give everyone a step-by-step. Why is that?
Every trailer generally is going to have a different step-by-step.
Yeah, there's different equipment.
Step by step.
Ooh, baby.
Oh, my God, he's singing. Well, that's true. I get that question all the time. We'll just tell everybody how to winterize their trailer. Mm-hmm. How the heck do you do that?
You can't.
Trailers are so different. But there is, if you have a standard...
There's some general...
A standard 6 or 8 gallon water heater, and you don't have an on-demand or a tankless or an Aldi.
Or a Truma.
There are some... Or a Truma. There are some basic steps.
So if I were in a classroom with Cody at the front teaching, and I raise my hand and say, tell me what the overall goal is, you'd say to get all water out of all the systems.
All of your plumbing systems.
Right. That'd be every bit of tubing, every fixture, and every appliance.
Yes.
Well, can't you just fill up all your faucets that fills up all your tanks until your faucets run dry and then dump your tanks?
No.
Why?
There's going to be residual water sitting somewhere. They'll sit in your P-traps because you can't get that out.
Okay.
It will sit in low points of the drains or the tubing where it could expand and freeze. There's a valve on the toilet that will hold on to water. There's just different areas within the plumbing system that's not going to move out when you just drain it or run your faucets dry.
Okay. So quick steps on a standard trailer, a standard 6-8 gallon water heater. How do you do it? What's the first thing you do?
The first thing you do? The first thing I do, the first thing I'm going to do is drain my water heater. So you've got a drain plug on the front of the water heater. You're going to remove it and let all the water drain out.
But first, you need to make sure the unit is completely cooled down.
That's a good point. Yes, you definitely don't want to open
Lindsay.
your water heater while it's hot.
No, I'm scared.
Or under pressure. So you need to make sure you relieve any pressure off the system too. You could end up taking a
I learned that
shower.
from filming tech tours.
That's a good point. Thank you.
Yeah, it's really dangerous if your water heater is hot to open that.
The drain.
Drain.
For sure. Because it'll come out of there with force too, especially if it's hot.
Well, it's kind of like if your engine's hot and you're like, I'm going to open that radiator cap.
Yeah, the radiator cap on your car, very good. Yeah, comparison there for sure.
Okay.
So when you're opening that, I used to see tools out there for undoing that because some of them are hard to get to. Mm-hmm. I don't really see those anymore. Am I just not looking?
So you're probably thinking of an Atwood water heater, which the drain plug was in an awkward location. Dometic drain plug was in another awkward location. And now Dometic has acquired Atwood and they've redesigned it and it's a little more central and easier to get to. So the tools are a little less unnecessary.
Less unnecessary, so more necessary.
Less necessary.
Okay. All right. So you open it up and the water drains out. Man, the stinkiest thing I have ever smelled in the world is a water heater that hasn't been drained for like years and years.
Yes,
and it's just sat there.
Wow.
I mean, to tell you, I don't know
What
why.
does it smell like?
It's perfect environment for bacteria.
Usually it ends
I
up
don't
smelling
know
like
what-
rotten eggs, sulfur.
Sulfur.
Sulfur, and I mean, it just sounds like smells like the worst rotten smell ever. Smells like something died
Warm,
in there.
pressurized water.
So
it is horrible.
So this is a perfect time to go ahead and clean your water heater, in my opinion.
So how do you
How
do
do you
that?
clean a water heater?
They make an attachment goes on the end of your water hose, and it pressurizes. It's a little jet tip basically that you can get up through your drain on your water heater and rinse and flush and try to descale as much as you can of the water heater. Some people like to use a vinegar water mix to do that as well, but just using the jetting tool is very nice.
Isn't that the most wonderful thing, vinegar? What about anode rods?
Anode rods are going to be found on Suburban water heaters, not on Dometic or Atwood.
Are they still on all Suburbans?
As far as I am aware to this date, yes.
So none of the water heaters out in the country?
Suburban's actually quite available at the moment.
That was a joke.
Oh, I missed the joke.
Suburban or rural
I know about
country.
anode rods too because of the tech tours.
What do you know about an anode rod? What does it do?
I'm trying to
Who is your daddy and what does he do?
Word for word.
His name is Richard.
This is your
Sits at
drain
home.
plug, which also pulls double duty as an anode rod. Your anode rod is think of it as a magnet for hard water deposits and calcifications, things like that. They stick on your anode rod and eat away at that instead of the inside of your water heater. We typically see people get about a camping season or two out of their anode rod before you have to change it. It's going to start out looking like this, and when you need to change it, it's going to be about the size of a pencil and very decrepit. My name is Drew.
Wow.
There you go. Good job.
Would you believe that it also deals with electrolysis?
What's that?
Electrolysis is actually the what occurs inside your water heater when you have differing metals and chemicals and minerals and stuff moving through the water. So basically what electrolysis can do is eat the lining of the water heater.
That's what I said. But it'll eat the anode rod
but
instead
it eats
of
the anode instead. But you forgot to mention electrolysis.
I've never even heard
Which
that
is actually more important.
Yeah, you just
Well, she didn't pay attention in 6th grade science.
No, I just pay attention during the tech tours.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Okay, so we have the water heater emptied.
Yep.
It's cooled off. It's emptied. We've checked the anode rod and we've cleaned out
plug. I mean, let's be clear. I'm sorry to interrupt, but
or the
no, I'm not that sorry.
She's not sorry.
I am not that sorry, but
the
yeah.
new Dometics actually don't use a drain plug. They use a drain cap.
Yeah, so some have a plug, some just have a little cap you open, and then some, when you undo the plug at the end, they have the anode rod that will look like it's covered in barnacles and dying. But
so
that's
we're
what
done with the water heater is what I'm coming to.
Yeah,
we're
that's
done
what
with
you're
the
coming
water
to.
heater.
We're never going to get winterized.
So far, this has already taken longer to discuss than you just doing it.
Just do it.
So, Cody, what after the water heater?
Can we move on?
Sure, absolutely. So after the water heater, if you have a standard trailer, you're probably going to find some bypass valves on the back of the water heater. And what those are going to do is allow us to possibly move liquid around or past the water heater without going through it.
Why would we want to do that, Cody?
Well, if you are winterizing with RV antifreeze, why put 6 gallons in your water heater?
Will antifreeze hurt the water heater?
No. It is RV safe.
waste.
It's also potable, so it's not going to kill you if you ingest
So
some
I can
of
make
it.
soup with it?
I wouldn't recommend it. It doesn't taste good.
soup with potatoes.
You'll never get cold again.
Your farts would be like...
It's so warm and hearty.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
I know what I'm getting you for Christmas.
So now once you're bypassed on your water heater, I like to open up all my faucets and then open my low point drains.
Does that reduce the vacuum, basically?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. Should allow everything to hopefully flow out of at least most of what is left in your water lines through your low point drains, which on every trailer is going to be in a different location. Determined by the manufacturer, and it could be a different way to drain it. It could be a cap, could be a plug, could be a T-pull handle somewhere in the trailer. Different ways to do it.
Could be a little plastic pitcock valve.
Yes.
What'd you just call me?
Nah.
Peacock.
But if you get underneath your trailer and look around, usually you can see tubes sticking down.
You can see the outlets.
And a lot of times it's a red one and a blue one, and those are your water lines, and those are the drains. So if you don't see a handle right next to it, you can go just above that inside the trailer.
Right.
Maybe underneath a dinette seat or in a cabinet. You will see the little handle to turn, and the water will run out.
And every now and then we see another drain tube just straight off of the freshwater tank, and I guess that's
right.
It just makes it faster, easier.
But that's a fairly new thing. I mean, they didn't used to drain fresh water tanks that way. You just had to
pump it through.
Run that water. But they've gotten smart, and in the past few years, most manufacturers have some way to drain the fresh water tank right where it is.
Yep, you'll want to get that out too.
Yeah, so just drain everything in those low point drains. So that gets most of the water out.
Yep.
And it's pretty easy if you have valves to bypass your water heater. Not all trailers have those, but most do.
So if you don't have a bypass, if your trailer doesn't have a bypass, you can actually install a bypass. You can purchase bypass kits. They're not difficult to put on, and it'll make your future a lot easier. If you continue to own your trailer, you're going to probably want to do this, every winter. So why fight it or waste antifreeze going into the water heater to do it correctly?
Yeah.
Bypass valves are simply a fancy way of saying two little handles that divert the water to a tube that just goes from one to the other instead of into your water heater and out of your water heater.
It just bypasses your water heater.
It just bypasses. It's just a tube with two handles on it. Now you're making me sound like I'm dumb, but you never really explained that.
She's breaking it down, Clint.
Yes, people need to know.
Break it down now.
It is not a big thing.
It's not a
two
big thing.
handles and a tube.
So before we go too far, there are going to be some listeners that are really new to this.
Going too far?
Yeah, taking it
We've
too
barely
far.
gone anywhere.
But it's not just because we're not just winterizing isn't just draining the water for the sake of getting water out. It's because of freezing water expands. It can pop all your tubes or fittings or faucets, wherever the pressure builds
breaks
up.
Things.
So we're trying to avoid the expansion of water in your water lines and systems.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. We're that. Yep.
And we will either bore you, confuse you, or possibly give you a small piece of information.
Yeah, we've talked about anode rods.
Entertain you.
Yeah, and we've talked about cleaning the tank and all that. But winterizing is really about saving your system from expansion of water.
All right, so we've taken all the water out. We have bypassed the water heater. What's next?
So the next step, there's a couple different ways you can go here. Some people like to use compressed air.
This is what I was going to say.
Yeah, some people like to use compressed air to help blow some of that additional water out that's still sitting.
We already got the water out.
You drained it.
But that's all gravity feed.
That's just gravity, right? So now we can actually force air in, and we can force more water
There's
out.
so much water in this camper.
Have you seen
It's got twists and turns.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's, yeah.
It's a maze.
Twists and turns.
It's got ups and downs.
Yeah, it's like
and
a
over
corn
and
maze.
outs.
It's like a water maze.
So they make fittings that will screw right into your city water connection.
Okay.
And you can use compressed air. You blow compressed air into
Keep
that.
all your faucets and all that open?
Yep. Keep all your faucets open. Close off those low point drains.
Uh-huh.
Keep all your faucets open. Blow that compressed air through to help blow any more water out of the line.
What about your toilet?
You'll want to depress the valve, either hand flush, foot flush, whatever you got. Do that too. You could do that. Yeah. Put a brick on it. Yeah. Sure. Or they make a device that you can put down in that'll hold it open too. But
so why do you close your low point drains?
There. Why close the low point drains? Because they will you'll lose most of your pressure right out of the drains. It's like if you're trying to fill the water with fresh water and you're hooked to the city water,
before it gets
you lose all your pressure right out the drain. So you open your faucet, you have next to nothing. So we want to try to get most of that pressure to blow that water out of our fixtures.
Is there a caution here on using compressed air?
You probably will not want to exceed, I'd have to double check it, but it's probably around 30 PSI.
Okay. Because again, we don't want to blow our fittings in.
Right. We don't want to damage things. So we don't want to hook our 120 PSI construction compressor up to it and blow too much pressure into the system.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Now is all the water out?
It could be. A lot of people actually consider this well enough and stop here.
But others bring out a shop vac. Am I wrong with that?
A shop vac?
Yeah.
To do what with?
First you blow it out and then you... Never mind.
Whoa.
I don't know where he's going with that.
I think he's talking about sucking it out now.
You use a vacuum.
Yeah, you're done.
Okay, FYI, don't use a vacuum.
Yeah, you don't need a vacuum. So some people will stop here and they consider it good enough if they've blown air out and blown water out and done all of that. They think it's good enough. And for some people, they might just be satisfied with that. I still like to make the next step of using RV antifreeze.
Okay.
And depending on your trailer, again, this is going to be one of those things that varies. Some may have a winterizing line that you basically is going to have a valve that you're going to turn.
Right.
It's going to allow you to suck that antifreeze right out of the jug.
Okay.
And into your plumbing system via the water pump.
Okay.
And that valve is going to be right next to the water pump.
Typically.
Yes.
Depending on the trailer, but typically.
And it looks like a hose that goes nowhere.
Right. It's just going to be an open-ended hose.
We're on the hose to nowhere.
Usually roads go nowhere.
Is that what you were
or
thinking?
Bridges.
Or sidewalks. This is where the sidewalks end.
Oh, Shel Silverstein. Good stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, gosh.
So now you can use that water pump and you can suck all that antifreeze into your system. You're going to want to go around and open again all your fixtures, your sinks, flush your toilet.
This is just to make sure that you see it,
run your showers,
that you filled up all the way to the very
edge
exactly.
So how is RV antifreeze different than antifreeze?
So vehicular antifreeze is toxic.
Oh, because you're not going to have to drink it out of your car.
And it tastes really sweet, so you want to drink it out of your car.
So, I mean, you can inject some hot dogs
don't drink it out of your car.
The neighbor's dog, but you might end up in jail for that.
Yeah.
Because it will kill them.
Yep.
So it drives dehydration.
So why don't we just use non-toxic antifreeze for everything? If it's
because of what it's doing, right? So in a car, it has to flow through an engine. It has to do other things other than just protect against freezing and overheating.
Right. It's going through different metals.
It just
sits there. Yep. Yeah, it's just sitting there.
Oh,
so,
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, of course it does. Everything in a car has to be toxic. So
that's right.
Where were we at?
What were we talking about?
Antifreeze in the trailer.
Yeah, so we've got antifreeze in it. We're going to open all. The biggest one that I think people may forget about is going to be that exterior shower.
That's right.
First of all, most people, I say most people because I'm referring to myself when I say this, I never use it. I don't think about it. I forget about it. It's there. It's like, oh, okay, what's that? Oh.
When you think about all the water sources in your RV, that's not one that comes to mind.
Exactly. So people will forget that one, and typically they're not very.
They're outdoor showers,
right? And they're not very well. They're not as insulated as all the plumbing running through the floor and cabinets. Be the first to go. I think Lindsay's trying to rush this along.
No, I'm excited that I know where you're going.
It'll absolutely be the first to go. And then those water lines are in a cabinet or something. So you're not going to see the
broken water.
The broken water line until you hook up next season and have a flood in your trailer.
Right.
So,
Okay.
yeah, so you just want to make sure that you hit every single water point that can flow water. And now here's a tricky one, and this is what my trailer has. I actually have an ice maker and a water dispenser built into my refrigerator.
Did I mention he's bougie?
Yes, you did.
It's a home style refrigerator.
Bougie Cody.
Well, it is a Keystone, Montana.
Oh.
It's a nice trailer.
Okay.
I mean, if I got to live in it.
Better than a Keystone, Kentucky.
Oh, Kentucky.
I don't even know what that reference is.
I don't know either. I just thought it was the only other state I could think of at the time.
With something like that, they make like a bypass kit for your water filters in those on some of them, to where you can bypass them and even winterize your home style refrigerators. Interesting. Because most, it obviously has to flow through that filter. So if they don't make a bypass, mine actually has a way to drain my refrigerator, so I can drain all the water out of it. It has a separate drain completely for the refrigerator.
Okay.
So something else to keep in mind. Don't forget that item when you're doing this.
Okay. Is that nearly the last step here?
Other than making sure that your tanks were emptied.
Okay.
Needs to be in that step somewhere. Now, whatever antifreeze goes down into them, I would just obviously leave in there. It doesn't need to come out.
So when you find that hose to nowhere and you stick it in your gallon of RV antifreeze and you turn the lever, turn on your water pump, it pumps through your system. I like to make sure it's coming out the faucet, and I like to be sure that when I flush the toilet, I see some pink stuff.
Yep. You want to run anything until you see the color, for sure.
And so run the shower to be sure the pink's coming out. The outside shower needs to be spraying pink. And then I know I've made it all the way around.
Yes.
Do you need to do that on your low point drains too?
Probably wouldn't be a bad idea.
Just to be sure pink is coming out and you've got it everywhere?
For sure. Good catch.
I have another question.
This is why it's good to talk about, because you forget steps.
Sure.
Well, it all seems very natural to us. We're around it all the time.
Yes.
So I don't have a compressor, so I'm not going to be blowing out the lines. I've drained everything I can drain. I've opened the drain on the water heater. I've bypassed it. I'm like sitting in my driveway. I've got a gallon of antifreeze. What can I do to try to protect it at that point?
If you've got the antifreeze, you don't have the winterizing line off of your water pump, you can pour that straight into your freshwater tank. Make sure you have closed the drain on it. Pour it straight into your freshwater tank, and then suck it out of the freshwater tank with your water pump. It's going to do the same thing. It's going to offer you the same protection. It may have a little bit of water mixed into it, because freshwater tanks generally don't drain 100%.
Right.
But you're still going to have better protection.
Is a little bit of water going to hurt?
A little bit's not going to hurt you, because it will dilute it.
Like when you try to make adult popsicles and you put too much vodka in them, and so then they don't freeze.
So much like that, Lindsay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Totally what I was thinking when I was like 23.
Which that's another point. That's exactly another point, which is the question of, well, some people in a pinch will use another substance other than RV antifreeze, which is
liquor.
McCormick's.
Yeah. So liquor won't freeze.
Yeah, it just it lowers the freezing point
very significantly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think last year with the big freeze that we had, that became, I think it's always been kind of a thing, but it became huge last year because there was no antifreeze.
Oh,
nobody
absolutely
could find
not.
any.
Well, nobody was open.
Right, and everybody needed some, so they just started using
whatever they could get
whatever they had in the liquor cabinet.
Right.
What a waste.
I know.
I don't know. Would you rather waste a bottle of vodka or ruin your trailer?
Right?
It's probably just
recollect it when you pump
delayed gratification. Whenever they de-winterize, they just pour themselves a glass.
Yeah, that's good.
Oh my God, it's like when you were a kid and you just wanted a water fountain that had like fruit punch in it.
Yeah.
So now you get like a faucet.
I don't think I ever had that desire.
I'm pretty sure I still do.
I never thought about it.
Somewhere in the middle.
I must be boring.
I would if I could be Mr. Deeds, I would be Mr. Deeds.
Yes,
Mr. Deeds.
Yes, that's where it came.
I'd take the Corvette.
I want the water fountain.
He gave everybody a Corvette.
Got a Corvette.
Everybody got a Corvette. Mr. Deeds, he gave everybody a Corvette.
Oh. Guess I'll have to watch it again. I forgot that part. Okay. So how about this?
Yep.
I hear a lot of people who say, I just drained all the water out and then I just poured a little bit down the sink, down the toilet, and in the shower just to hit all the P-traps.
The P-traps, yeah, they'll do it just to protect the P-trap because they figure, I got enough of the water out. I'm good.
Yeah. Isn't that good enough?
You know, it's a risk. Again, you could still have water in locations that you're not thinking about. You may not end up with complete ruptures or damage, but you could end up with expanded fittings, which will lead to slow leaks. You may not have this big giant leak, but the slow leaks will be the ones that you don't catch. They'll actually cause more damage.
Yep.
With newer trailers and truck campers and whatever, you were seeing a different kind of like the next generation of PEX tubing and all that. Is that
next generation?
Yeah, isn't there some new PEX that's out there? It's like going to be able to handle colder temperatures and expansion a little bit better.
That would be. I don't know. I don't keep up with the PEX hotline, but I mean, I don't see why not. PEX already expands better because it's not solid like PVC. So it already expands better if it does get into a freezing situation. Typically, I don't worry too much about the PEX tubing itself. I worry about the fixtures and I worry about the fittings.
Okay, those little
the connections.
Those
the
little
connections.
press connections.
Those, and I mean, they'll even if it freezes in a joint, it'll expand the Oetiker, the crimp Oetiker or something like that, and allow a water leak there.
All these words.
Yes, big words for water. All right. Lines.
Big words and water lines.
Okay.
Are we done?
We are not done because guess what?
We start to talk about
an awful lot of tankless water heaters out there and Aldi's. So I know we can't go top to bottom. It's kind of, some of it's the same. You get the water out of your system.
Yep.
But what steps are different if you have a tankless water heater?
Well, some manufacturers do not want antifreeze in their systems. Some do. So they're going to have to check with whoever the manufacturer is. So they should have an owner's manual as to whether it should have antifreeze pumped through it or not.
Okay.
And follow those steps. So if it is supposed to, pump it through it. If it is not, just you need to drain it and blow it out.
Okay. Well, I also know we have a whole lot of listeners that have New Camp products that have the Aldi system. How difficult is it really to winterize an Aldi system? Is it that different?
It is not. But Alda does not, I believe, if I remember correctly, they are one that does not recommend running antifreeze through their boiler. So you're going to drain it off, blow compressed air through it, and then bypass it. So New Camp builds in all those bypass valves.
Yeah.
Yep.
There's quite a few valves, though, if I remember right. So you kind of got to get the process down.
It just looks like a lot because they're all in one location. So you just kind of, when you look at them, you go, oh, man, what does what? You just kind of follow the water line and see where it goes. Is usually what I do because I don't remember. Okay, that one does that. Well, that one does that. I look at them and then I trace them and go, okay, that one's going to do this. That one's going to do that. So I need to turn that. You know, just figure out which one does what.
Well, I know that New Camp has some good online help of step-by-step on winterizing the Aldi system, but it definitely needs to be included in your winterizing.
Winterize your Alda.
We see a lot of issues there.
Yep.
Another name that comes up, and I don't know if this system is much different than the Alda or not, the Truma products.
Yeah, Trumas are... Truma and Alda are partners.
Okay.
In a way. They are somewhat similar, but not really. Truma is definitely one that we probably saw more than any other water heater last winter with a cracked tank.
Okay.
It's this particular part that unfortunately is not a consumer replaceable part. And Truma requires
a whole replacement, whole unit?
It's not, but Truma does require it to be repaired by a Truma certified facility.
Oh.
So it's not a part that can be, here you go, Mr. Customer.
So if you screwed it up, you got to go take it in and wait for it to get fixed.
Yes.
Man. Well, that is our recommendations for winterizing. Don't ignore it.
Right. Don't ignore it. But Truma does have one cool thing.
What's that?
So Truma actually makes, so where their filter goes in at the bottom, big lever you open up to drain it, and everything's super easy to drain. Like, it's not like you have to remember to do it, but it's super easy to drain. But they actually make a heated piece that goes back in to protect you in those winterization times.
Oh.
So it's pretty cool.
Cool. How about we have you on at the end of the winter season to talk to us about de-winterizing?
It's called summarizing.
Summarizing. Wait.
We will summarize our
That's too short of a
winterizing.
conversation if we summarize.
Don't we need...
Springizing.
I was going to say, don't we start camping in the spring around here?
Do we stop
We
here?
don't stop
Well,
camping.
that's a good point.
Can't stop, won't stop.
Can't stop the feeling.
Man alive. I don't even know what happens in here. But we didn't talk about the winterizing of batteries.
What?
Oh.
Goodbye.
Oh. We are out of time, folks. You're going to have to tune in next week for that one.
Give us the quick fix on winterizing a battery.
Batteries need to be disconnected and put on maintainers if you have a standard lead acid battery over the winter. They need to be preferably removed from the trailer and put on a maintainer. They will freeze.
What's a maintainer?
Just
One that charges just a little bit.
just
so it
something that
keeps
does a
its
little bit.
charge.
Well, I don't have a maintainer.
Well, a maintainer is
one.
more than a trickle charger. A trickle charger charges, but a maintainer adjusts the amount of resistance going in and out of the battery, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
So I should have a maintainer.
I would recommend
my
it for
garage?
the winterizing time.
Maintainer's
for the
like
winter
the
time.
thing you have to put in your mouth.
That's a
That's
retainer.
That's a
Retainer.
maintainer.
Or a bridge expander.
Yeah. Maintainer is that construction equipment that they drive over back and forth over the surface of the
That's
highway.
That's a roller.
Paver.
I mean, if you don't want to use technical terms.
Yeah, so batteries are super easy, but they need to be pulled out. They need to make sure they're topped up, and they need to be put on some type of charger.
What's topped up mean?
For the winter? The battery, the
What's it mean?
You pull the
water
panels
level.
off the top.
Pull the caps off the top if you don't have a maintenance free.
Okay.
Pop the caps off.
Okay.
Use distilled water. Top it off.
Pop it top again.
And don't overfill
Distilled
it.
water.
Don't
What, just
overfill
distilled
it.
water?
Distilled water.
Okay, so for a motorcycle battery, you're supposed to use like electrolytes. Is that different? Like I just pour
Electrolytes?
I just pour Ensure.
You just go buy some Gatorade or what?
Yeah. No, really, I go
No,
for the
really?
Ensure.
What?
That's a higher quality.
So can't you just pull your battery off and put it someplace warm?
Does it smell like hot milk?
You can.
I mean, really.
You could, but your battery will still discharge
Battery's
while it's in
boiling over.
storage.
But that's okay. I'll put it back on my camper and plug it into my vehicle and head for the campsite, and it'll recharge while I'm going.
Maybe.
Right?
Maybe.
But if it's too dead, then it won't.
If it's too dead, then it won't. Plus, you're also decreasing the life.
PJ's playing dumb.
The life cycles of that battery. If you let it go too dead in storage, you will decrease the usability, the life cycle of that battery.
I honestly know this because of cell phones. I learned that you're not supposed to let your cell phone go dead all the time, and you're not supposed to plug it in once it's 100% charged. You're not supposed to leave it plugged in.
Right. They actually recommend, I think, on cell phones somewhere between 30 and 70% is your optimal battery.
Yeah, you're not supposed to let it go dead and then charge it up and then let it go dead and charge it up because it won't last as long.
Is that why
That's like a battery
I have
thing.
so much trouble?
Yeah,
Yes.
it's a thing with batteries.
Yep.
It's probably the reason your
even
Apple
with
Watch
lithium
does what it
batteries.
does.
Oh, my
even
watch
with
is just a
lithium
nightmare.
batteries. Yep.
So,
Well-
have you ever had a standard lead acid battery where the water froze inside of it?
Not me personally, but it can happen.
Well, that sounds bad.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
Sounds terrible.
People who live up north probably have that happen a lot.
Yeah. So, I mean, they make, for people that want to camp in the winter, they make battery blankets.
Oh,
option.
baby.
Baby battery
You tuck
blankies.
it in.
Nobody puts baby in the corner.
Nope.
That's so sweet.
Jose's actually doing a lithium setup with heating blankets.
Oh, it's probably a good idea.
Yeah, because they don't charge when it gets cold.
I wonder
That
if your
is
mom
correct.
can make it a quilt.
Your mom can make it a quilt.
No, she can't.
Said your mama.
Well, I don't know. We learned a little about winterizing, maybe?
It would be more fun to use the vodka.
Okay. But
Just
not
saying.
in your battery.
Why,
your mouth.
why vodka over other options?
Because it's
Cheap.
Is that it?
You can buy vodka very cheap.
Cheap.
Everclear?
And you can mix it with anything. Even
when you're ready to drink it.
Yes, yes. You can mix it with anything.
Maybe it'll be really fun if you drink it while you winterize.
We might miss a step.
Some for me, some for you, some for the camper.
A little bit for me.
Hey.
What?
I have a question.
Real one?
Are we done talking about winterizing?
Okay. Yes.
Okay. Let's see if we can name all 7 doors in 10 seconds. You ready? Happy.
Go Lucky. No?
Doc.
Sneezy.
Did we already do Grumpy?
Bashful.
I don't even know what number we're
on.
What number are we on? What number are we on?
Happy, Sneezy, Grumpy, Sleazy, Doc.
Sleazy.
What kind of dwarf are we talking about here?
That dwarf works the corner.
You're so sleazy.
He's the one who sings hi ho a little bit differently. Hi ho.
Hey ho.
Hi ho. Hi ho.
Wow.
Well, this has been RV Small Talk. Thank you for joining us today. PJ cannot breathe.
That's terrible.
Sleazy.
Sneezy.
You already said sneezy.
Hi ho, it's off to work. You go.
You know what makes the back of my face hurt? That laugh.
Oh my God.
Well, there you have it. I feel like maybe we should apologize for that last little bit, but we sure had a really good time recording that episode. And you know what? There it is. That's what it is. We had a blast. Don't forget that you can check out all the details and previous episodes at rvsmalltalk.com. You can find show notes and things like that there. We are on social media. You can always just look us up at rvsmalltalk.com, or you can head on over to YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. Check us out there. That's RV Small Talk Podcast. So thanks for hanging in there with us. Get your campers, your RVs ready for the cold weather, whether you're going to be in storage or if you're going to be camping in it in spite of the cold. We encourage you to do that, and we hope to see you next time.